And we're recording. And we can start with any questions that you have, or if you don't have any questions, I'll just go right into it.
Okay. Let's begin.
Have you checked to see if you're in a HubZone?
Yes, and I'm not.
Okay. So again, the HubZone's 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer to process, so that's a long-term solution. 8A is a long-term solution. The WOSB is a long-term solution.
What about getting a new address? I have a LLC already, and should I just start over? Should I use the one I have? I got a.
The one you have now, have you done any business with it?
No, I just maintain the name.
Okay, so you've done no business under that business name?
No, not at all.
All right.
I got a LinkedIn account, that's it.
All right. You could start a new business or continue to use that one, because without a balanced portfolio of clients on that one, doesn't matter how long it's been around, you could have had that business for the last 10 years. If you haven't done any business under it, then it's not going to do us any good. All right. So whether you use that business or you start a new one, over the next year.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly. And over the next year, we need to focus on this right here, building your balanced portfolio of clients. You can't have less than, it says less than 2 clients, but I tell people we need more than 3. If we have more than 3 clients, we don't have to prove to the SBA that you're a safe business, because with 2 clients, if you lose one, you've lost half your business. With 1 client, you lose them, you're out of business. With 3 clients, you lose one, you're losing 30%. But if you've got more than 3 clients, we don't have to prove that you're a safe business, okay?
Okay.
And that's part of the 8A process, is to prove that you have a balanced portfolio of clients. The other thing is, when you win a big fat contract, pay yourself as little as possible, put the rest of the money back into the business, and make sure you pay yourself at least $1 more than you pay anyone else in your business. Your partner, employees, you have to make more than anyone. So make sure you pay yourself at least $1 more than the rest of the guys. Is your personal net worth under $250,000 right now?
Yes.
Okay, not including your house, but everything you else personally, stocks, bonds, cash, 401k, any of that stuff, RVs, motorcycles.
I'm under.
Okay, keep it that way. When
The only thing I have is some land, but it's not appraised that much.
Okay. When you win a big contract 3 or 4 months down the road and make $1 million, don't go out and buy a $500,000 RV, because you just screwed yourself on your 8A.
Okay.
All right? I understand if you work hard, you deserve to play hard. I agree with 100%, but not for the first year. Put everything back into the business the first year. All right? If you have to buy an asset, put it in the business name, because your business assets can be up to $4 million, or total assets can be up to $4 million. Okay?
Okay.
You haven't made more than $250,000 in the last 3 years average.
No.
What did you make last year, roughly?
I'm a disabled veteran, so it's all tax-free.
Right, but that doesn't matter. It's based on what your income is going to be based on what you can qualify for.
Made like $50,000.
Okay, so you lived off your benefits last year. You didn't work a side job or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the age of the company doesn't matter, because you haven't done any business anyway. The only other thing you need to work on over the next year, stay out of trouble. All right? We have to prove good moral character. I know you're not going to go out of your way to get in trouble, but stupid shit happens. Don't do stupid shit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
Yeah. Obviously, no trouble here.
I get people that tell me that. No, I'm not going to get in trouble. I had a couple, they were in good position too, man. Their HubZone, they had a lot going for them, and they only had another 3 months left to get their 8A, and they got into an argument, and the neighbors called the cops, and when the cops show up, she couldn't calm down, and she got arrested for domestic violence, and now she can't do the 8A. They screwed themselves, so stay out of trouble, all right?
Yep.
It's one thing to say it, but, you win a $500,000 contract, and you make $50,000 in profit, and you've never made $50,000 in profit in your entire life, chances are you're going to go out and have a good time that night. Just take a taxi, take an Uber, stay out of trouble. Because even a DUI can get you kicked out of this program, all right?
Oh, wow.
HubZone we'll worry about down the road. That's another long-term solution because it takes 3 to 6 months. We don't need you to pack up and move today to do something that's going to take 3 to 6 months to process anyway. All right. GSA is a long-term solution. It takes a year or two to process a GSA, and you have to have a business portfolio, blah, blah, blah. The only reason why I'm telling you this is because as soon as your SAM becomes active, as soon as your cage code becomes active, you're going to get phone calls and emails from the ambulance chasers trying to sell you all kinds of crap. And GSA is the first thing they're going to want to try and sell you. All right? You don't need it. You're not ready.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds good.
Now, you're a service-disabled veteran, and you said you are part minority.
Yes.
What part?
Black.
Do you know what percentage?
My dad's black.
Okay, okay. Mom?
She's white.
Okay.
On the birth certificate and on my DD-214, it says black, so.
Awesome, awesome. That's all we need. Awesome. Okay.
I don't even think they count one wrong.
Well, here's the thing. You're better off being a veteran in a minority. Yeah, you're better off being black than being a woman right now.
I check black every time when they put the box there.
There you go. Women-owned businesses are getting the short end of the deal because there's just so many of them. The set-asides for minorities, women, and veterans in 8As is 5%. That's 5% of the entire federal budget, which is billions and billions of dollars. It's mind-boggling. But there's 60,000 women sharing their 5%. Compared to you as a veteran, there's only 40,000. You've got almost half as much competition sharing your 5% as women do. Throw in your minority status on top of it, gives you another 5%. Throw in your service disabled set aside on top of that, gives you another 3%. Eventually the 8A, the HubZone, it all adds up. So you're in a good position, okay? Between the small business, minority, veteran, service disabled veteran, 8A, and a HubZone, you're going to crush this in the long run. Have you seen any of my videos on simplified acquisitions?
No, I have not.
The database I'm going to show you right now is called the Federal Procurement Data System. You don't have to create an account and log in. It's publicly searchable. It's a federal database that is publicly searchable. This is where purchasing agents prove that they're hiring women, minorities, and veterans. So when they hire you and they're trying to meet this 5% criteria or a service disabled veteran or whatever, they'll post these contracts in the FPDS to prove that they're hiring women, minorities, and small businesses, 8As, etc. The problem with this database is once an agency reaches their cap that they're supposed to meet, they'll stop posting. So the best example I can give you, let's say an agency has a $100 million budget and they're supposed to award 23% of that to a small business or two small businesses. Now, let's say they hire one small business to give them a $23 million contract, which is not unheard of. I see it all the time. I got a client that got a $1 billion contract, all right? Let's say they award a $23 million contract to a small business. Well, that agency met their small business set aside for the entire year with that one contract. So they're going to post that one contract in the FPDS to prove that they've hired 23% small businesses, and they're not going to post any more small business contracts for the rest of the year because that's a waste of their time. They only have to do 23%. They don't have to prove that they do more than that. So this database doesn't track all the spending. It only tracks a percentage. My guesstimate is about 7%, but we're going to round that up to 10. Now, based on that, I want to do a keyword search. You have an interest in brokering, which is excellent, because if you only had, if you just told me you wanted to do janitorial services and that's it, I would tell you unless you're willing to broker, I'm not going to take you on as a client. Because if you're too specific under just one category of business, it's much harder to win contracts because you're limiting yourself.
I'm very interested in service disabled veteran-owned small business and that entity, just because I know it's very not as competitive as the other categories.
Right.
And there's a genre that I would like to do, but I'm actually completely open to just satisfying that requirement, whatever the requirement may be, as long as I'm able to do it.
Okay. Well, outside of brokering, which means you can sell anything, give me a keyword. Give me something specific that you'd like to sell. Maybe you would enjoy selling, or maybe you got a good friend that owns a business that you could sub to already. Give me a keyword.
Solar.
Solar. Excellent. Solar's up and coming. It's not going anywhere. It's a good technology. So under solar, right now, there's almost 50,000 contracts in the system under solar. You see that? 47,662.
Okay.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, we're going to add 10% of the contracts across the board under solar are being done as simplified acquisitions. Now we're going to check and see how much that's increased in the last, because everything for simplified acquisitions has gone up in the last 5 years. So just this year alone, we're only 4 months into this year, there's over 2,000 contracts under solar.
Okay. $133.
Now if we look at these by date signed, so it shows the most recently awarded was day before yesterday for $11,995. That was for, I can tell you right off the bat, it was first class solar window panels. And I actually have a client that supplies these. They sell windows and doors that have solar panels built into them. That one's for 10,000, 3,000. I'm looking for one over 25,000 because it's different rules over 25,000. So this one right here for 30,000, for example.
This money is basically for the whole entire job, right? So you'd have to find out the specifications and figure out if that's even profitable, right?
My average client's profit margin on a broker is 20%, and that's brokering. That's not doing any of the work.
Right.
So 20% is pretty damn good. I brokered back in the 80s and early 90s, and we were happy to get 5%. And we were thrilled if there was only 10 bidders. In the federal arena, your average is 20, 25% markup, and the average number of bidders is 3.
Okay.
But in this case, because it's done as a simplified acquisition, you see that?
I see the one as well,
One offer received. You're going to see this a lot, especially on simplified acquisitions. So there's no competition on them.
yeah. What about solar consulting? This is a product side. Do they show requests for proposal for consulting, or specifically?
Absolutely. There's one for over 300,000. Oh, okay. So you probably heard me talk about simplified acquisitions. Sometimes they'll prepay, giving a small business working capital to actually do the job.
Okay.
This is a prime example. See where it says current 327,297?
Yes.
They gave them $327,000 up front. They'll collect 1.15 total once the job is done.
Wow.
This was done as a simplified acquisition. System cost evaluation for solar technologies. There was 4 offers received.
Which is still really low.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 4 or 5 offers all day because all that means
Yeah.
I need to submit 5 bids to win one. You know, we were submitting average number of bidders was 10 to 20. So we were submitting 10 to 20 bids just to win one, and we were making 2 to 3% on it. Fortunately, they were big enough. You know, it was worth it in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
3 offers.
And so, an LLC, how is the process in terms of birthing this concept to providing contracts to the government?
Well, it depends on your approach. If you're going to broker contracts, so you've got unlimited opportunities. Have you seen any of my videos?
Yeah.
Where I talk about
and vetting the business, either using a current LLC I have or start a new one in any state that, you know, it would be favorable for this, because I know that I qualify. I'd like to find out about how to be a broker and get started as soon as possible.
well, this is what you're up against. The fact that you're willing to broker, the fact that you're a minority and a service-disabled veteran puts you in a much better position to be successful with the government. If you were a white guy and you had a janitorial company or a landscaping company and that's all you wanted to do and you didn't want a broker, I would tell you I wouldn't take you on as a client, because the likelihood of you getting contracts is much more difficult, being that you don't qualify for any set-asides. But being a black guy and a service-disabled veteran and you're willing to broker increases your chances of being successful by, hundredfold.
Why would someone not be willing to broker? I mean, that's what you have to do in the long run anyways.
Some people, when they hear the word broker, it's a dirty word. They don't like it. And this guy might have been in business for the last 15 years doing landscaping. He doesn't care to do anything else. That's all he wants to do is landscaping, which I can understand. But for a Caucasian male to do business with the government, unless they're calling you and begging to hire you, you're not going to be that successful. I mean, you could still win contracts, but it's going to be limited, because they're giving them to African Americans, they're giving them to Hispanic Americans and Asian Americans, they're giving them to Native Americans, they're giving them to 8As and HubZones just so they can claim it to write it off.
Well, where do we start?
Well, here's the thing. My client success ratio right now is almost 90%. 90% of my clients will win at least one contract their first year. And that's up from, that's huge. We don't take a cut because the government frowns upon that. All we charge is flat fees for training, bid proposal services, what have you. I wished I could take a cut, because that $1 billion contract, 1% would be my $1 million cut.
I'll send you some Bitcoin.
There you go. I mean, you can always come buy me lunch and give me a Christmas bonus. Nothing wrong with that.
I have a lot of friends of mine that they're service-disabled combat veterans, and I would like to help them as well.
Absolutely.
And so I'd like to go through everything I need to do and find out, okay, this is what I need to do, and then maybe help them out if I get to that point, if I'm able to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, because my client success ratio is so high, I'm limited to who I take on. I'll definitely take you on as a client because you're a good fit. If you were to, I actually get referrals from the government. The only reason why I don't broker myself is because I get referrals from the government. Literally, the government reaches out to me and says, I need a vendor to do this, and I'll refer them to a vendor. Because of that, if I started brokering, I could get in trouble that it's a conflict of interest. My attorney, I've been through this with him until we're blue in the face. If I was going to broker contracts, I would have to quit, take all my videos down, delete them, not do anything government related for 3 years, deliver pizzas or go do whatever. And then I could come back and start brokering, and it wouldn't be a conflict of interest. I'm not going to do that for now. I'm going to wait until somebody makes me an offer I can't refuse, which is much easier.
Mm-hmm.
When the government tells someone to go get registered, or we get a referral from the government, they go to the website to sign up for simplified acquisitions. They don't question. They click on the link and they sign up. If you were to go to our website and not through me, it's $5,000 for the simplified acquisitions program for the SAP to get you registered. What I can do for you, number one, I can use a voucher from the NBCC convention, so I can bring that cost down to $2,950. First of all, I can knock $2,000 off of it. I can also, let me get the email out here. I can also give you 1 year of group training. It's normally $2,000 for a year's worth of group training. I can give you that for free, no charge. I can give you 5 hours of personal training, one-on-one for you and I. So when you've got something that's a high-level clearance or top secret clearance that you want to bid on, we can't do that in the group session. Obviously, we can't do that.
All right, I got a question.
Yes.
This is what I understand. I had a secret clearance, and I heard once you've had one before, that it's easier to reinstate, but it's expired, obviously. So, not that I'm looking for that right now or anything. I just want to know, is that true, or did I have to go through another clearance vetting process?
If once you have a secret or a top secret clearance, you have to use it to keep it. So if you haven't used it for a while, excuse me, it would expire, but you can get it back. There's a process you're going to have to go through to get it back. But the easier way to go around that is if you've got a contract that requires any level of clearance, hire one of your buddies that still has their clearance and use their clearance.
Okay.
And you can use that to help get your clearance reactivated.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah. And there's another thing too. I didn't know you had a clearance. You can, you know, for the lack of a better word, you can whore yourself out just because of your clearance. People will hire you as a subcontractor just to put you on the books because they need someone who has a clearance to do a government contract. So you will find some contract work.
A silly question. Are there income tax rebates or benefits for these minorities, disabled veterans?
There's no tax benefits per se, but the government doesn't pay tax, number one. So you're not going to pay tax whenever you sell something to the government. But no, unfortunately, they don't give you a deduction on the taxes or anything like that. Best thing to do is focus on making a shitload of money, and you don't have to worry about it. Taxes will pay themselves, you know. Especially if you're focusing on your 8A and you're not spending the money, you're putting it back in the business.
Okay.
And I get that question a lot, but that's a good question to have. I get people that say, well, if we win this contract, it's $18 million, then we're no longer a small business. That's a good problem to have. You know?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I can get you in the SAP program for $29.50. I'll include the group training, the personal training. I'm also going to include AFPDS, which I haven't even told you about. I'm going to include that at no charge. We're going to do your SAM at no charge. Plus the cost of the SAP program normally, that's over $10,000 in services I'm giving you for $29.50. So you're saving more than $8,000. Now, when did you want to start bidding?
Well, I'd like to know all the costs, and I like to know if I need to have like a storage facility.
Nope.
That's what I was wondering.
Nope. No, you're going to have most of this stuff you're going to have shipped directly from the supplier to the buyer.
What's the turnaround? Okay, so here's the deal. I saw to be able to bid on these contracts, you got to have any kind of debt whatsoever. I had my debt removed, so it's a zero. But there were, I was like late on the payment, but the balance is zero because the debt's removed. So is that okay, or does it have to be good standing?
I've convicted felons that do government contracts with horrible credit.
Oh, okay. Wow, that sounds terrible. That doesn't sound good.
It is what it is, man. There's a gentleman out in California that has a nonprofit, and he helps veterans get back on their feet. And a lot of veterans, when they get their discharge and they come home and they can't get their benefits for 1.5 to 2 years, they wind up on the streets doing drugs and crimes and going to jail and winding up with felonies on their record. He helps them start their own business and win government contracts, even though they're convicted felons with horrible credit. There's plenty of work.
Okay.
And there's very little competition. That's the other thing you got to keep in mind.
Okay. So let's say I pay this $29.50, and how long is the turnaround before I'm like starting to broker for because I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody at this point. I have no experience.
That's okay. I have startup companies, people that work out of their home, one-man show, that have won their first contract within the first 30 days. The very first bid they submitted, they won. You got to keep this in mind. Look, there's 1.2 million for-profit vendors registered to do business with the government right now in the federal system called SAM. Over 900,000 of them are inactive. That only leaves
Wow.
330,000 active for-profit businesses in SAM. And I know 330,000 kind of sounds like a lot, but if you consider in the United States, there's 30 million small businesses.
Yeah, I see you're going to.
330,000 businesses are active, and more than half of those are big business. But let's say half are big and half are small. That's only 180,000 small businesses that are active to do business with the government, and they're supposed to get 23% of the entire federal budget. There's very little competition in the federal system. And when you consider this, we've done 80,000 registrations. So out of that 160,000 small businesses that are active, I can only guarantee that half of them are compliant.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
I understand a lot of people would like to start earning right off the top, to start building up their resume, their portfolio, what have you. I would like to, because I have things going well now, I would rather wait on a more lucrative contract rather than getting a bunch of 10s or 15s. Like, could I just sit there and wait till I got something that was worth coming in the game with? You know what I mean?
You do whatever you want. I'm going to teach you what I know and what I know works, but I can't make you do it my way. And I have a small percentage of clients that they'll take 80% of what I say and use it, and then they'll do 20% their way. Only thing that time will tell, you know. I got a gentleman that signed up for this very program, and when I told him the case manager was going to process his SAM, he said, "Nah, I already registered in SAM. I'm fine." And I said, "Just let the case manager go back and redo it and fix it." No, I already did it. No worries. I mean, it's part of the program, but he decided he didn't want to use us to do his SAM, which is fine. But the other day, he's got an outstanding proposal out there. And the other day he logged into SAM to add a naics code, and when he logged out, he didn't save it right, and he deactivated himself from SAM. Now he can't figure out to reactivate it, and he's got a bid that's pending. So finally he said, "Please fix this for me." You should have let us do it to begin with. You know, I can't convince people to do everything my way. But
the reason my concern is, as a disabled veteran, I live off my disability. And so when you make a certain amount of money, usually about $9,000, you are now basically breaking the law. So you have to report that you're no longer doing this or that. If you have an IU classification, and it's a different way how they pay you. Some are allowed to be 100% service connected and still work. But for my injury, I have an IU, but it's not total impermanence, which would allow me to do this program. So what I'm saying is, if I get a contract off the get-go that's like 10 grand, now I'm like really in the paint for 10 grand now. I have to make sure this works, as opposed to, hey, are you willing to take a risk? You have a contract that's for, let's say, 70 grand. Because I know, you get what I'm saying? You see my concern?
I get the occasional question that, you know, if I win government contracts, am I going to lose my veterans' disability benefits? Most VA benefits that you have for disability, you cannot lose, no matter how much you make. But some of them, I understand some of them you can, or you get limited benefits based on your income, that they're going to give you this benefit because you're not supposed to do more than a certain amount of work.
Right.
And I understand that completely. But if you're going to, I mean, I wouldn't go after a contract for $5 grand that you're only going to make $500 profit on. I wouldn't waste my time with that anyway. I would go after the low-hanging fruit that's bigger.
So what is that low-hanging fruit?
250,000, where you're making 20%, you're making 40, 50 grand per pop.
And how often can you take on the contracts for this entity?
You can take on as many as you want, as long as you do a good job and fulfill them.
What is, as a broker, what are the major challenges would I be facing as a broker?
Hustling, getting out there and making the phone calls and submitting bids, not sitting on your ass thinking that this is just some get-rich-quick scheme that's going to fall on your plate.
Okay, what about the actual people that do the work? How does that work in terms of liability?
They're liable.
So if I said, okay. would that mess up my name if I hire somebody and they do a bad job? Like, I don't like the
Yeah.
people you're
Oh
using.
yeah. Oh yeah. You can't just, it's your score, but they're liable to do the job. That's like, I got a gentleman yesterday, one of my clients said, well, I want to rent this machine out to the government, but if the government messes it up, I don't want to be reliable for it. You're talking about something that the government's been renting machines for 300 years. That's well in place. All these things, all these concerns you have are well in place. And you're not the first guy to broker contracts.
Okay. Well, I would just like to make a nice transition into it.
Mm-hmm.
The challenges. Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds very good. What else do I need to do to follow up on this part with you?
All I need to do, if you don't have any other questions, I need to get you over to my assistant. She can gather your information and send you the forms. All you do is sign the forms with your mouse, and you can start bidding today.
Oh, really? So, don't I need an LLC and all that other stuff?
Well, you've got one that's in place right now that you could use. Most bids are put out a month in advance. So if you found something today you want to bid on and the bid's not due for 3 to 4 weeks down the road, by then you're going to be fully compliant to submit the bid.
How do I get vetted to the SDVOSB?
The SDVOSB is through VetBiz, and it takes 3 to 6 months to process. So I don't ask people to do those registrations up front because they're not a short-term solution.
I would only be interested in doing this if I was registered as a SDVOSB.
Well, you can do SDVOSB contracts without being in VetBiz.
Okay, so
because you are a service-stable veteran. It's called self-certification. Some purchasing agents are not going to accept it. Some purchasing agents will just have you show them your DD-214 and prove that you're a service-disabled veteran, and it's done. Eventually, we'll add that because it takes 3 to 6 months to process, and it's an additional fee.
How much is the fee?
It's $2,000. If you added it today to this program, it cuts the cost in half. It would only be an additional $1,000 to add it today. But keep in mind, it's going to take 3 to 6 months to process. It's not something you can use immediately.
That's fine.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Why would I? Okay, so you want to pass me to your assistant?
Yeah. Let me add the VetBiz on here.
So what would be the whole entire startup cost? Basically,
added the VetBiz, which is half
price. $39.50.
Yep. The VetBiz is by itself. You can add it within 30 days and only pay the half price. You can add it today for half price, or you can add it within 30 days for half price. After 30 days, you're going to have to pay the full price.
Okay, so as I understand, I'm like a paper company that just qualifies. They don't need to see like a balance sheet? Like, that's my thing. So
nope.
Maybe I should look into brokering more to understand this.
You can make this far more difficult than it is, and you can think about it all day, but it's way, way simpler than people make it out.
Okay. All right.
Let me show you something real quick.
All right.
Let me show you about overthinking it.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. I'm not going to discount that. But that's why people come to me. I mean, I had a gentleman that, he signed up yesterday, the guy who used to work for GSA. This guy did government purchasing. He was a federal purchasing officer in was it Army or Navy? I forgot. Army. He was a federal purchasing officer in the Army for 10 years. Got sick of the Army, couldn't take it anymore. Knew if he went and got a federal job that he could still get his benefits. Some people that just decide they don't want to be in the military anymore can go get a government job and finish out their 20-year agreement, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so he went from being a federal purchasing agent in the Army. He went and got a job at GSA. GSA is the largest purchasing entity on the planet. GSA contracts are the ones we're looking at are up to 5 years. GSA contracts are up to 20 years. But you can't do those until you're a successful contractor. That's why I said don't worry about GSA for now. Put it on the back burner. Long story short, he went from being a federal purchasing agent and then working at GSA for 10 years. and then retired and decided to become a broker, reached out to me and said, I want to hire you because I know, being a federal purchase agent and working for GSA, that I need a professional on my team. I know this. And I've watched your videos. You're the guy. I want you. I don't care how much it is. I'm hiring you. And he jumped on the day before yesterday because he knows he needs me and he knows I'm the right guy for the job. This woman I'm showing you right here, Blue Raven Creative, okay?
Okay.
She came to us in 2014, right here. She came to us in 2014, 11/3 at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon. She called in and signed up for the SAP program, same one you're doing right now for $29.50. She called back in less than an hour, 3:31 to 4:19. Less than an hour later, she called in and canceled. She was in panic mode. She talked to a friend of hers, told him that she registered to do government contracts, and he said, oh, it's so difficult, and he tried it 10 years ago, and he failed, and she's wasting her time, and she's wasting her money, so she canceled. She overthought it, okay? She came back in 2015 and inquired again, and then got scared again and didn't do anything about it. She came back again in 2016 and signed up again for the SAP program. And again, got scared and called in to cancel. When she called in to cancel that day, she got me on the phone. And I said, listen, before you cancel, join my group training today. At the end of the day, it's from 4 to 5. Join my group training, see how I help my clients, see how I work with them, and my willingness to help. I will help you find a contract to bid on. And if I can't help you find one, or you're still not happy by the end of the training, I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. So she got on the training. We found something to bid on. She called me after the training. She said, John Wayne, I'm still scared, but nowhere near as much as I was. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to stick with it this time. Let's work on this bid. She won that first bid in under 30 days. All right. And you see it right here. Here's her DUNS number.
Okay.
Pop her DUNS number into FPDS. And voila, Blue Raven Creative. It's only a $25,000 contract, which doesn't sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things. That's not a big contract. To the government, that's like buying a piece of bubble gum. But to her, she's never done a contract over, not even close to $2,000 was her largest contract. So getting one.
Is it possible she maintained other contracts with this company? I mean, because she's only got one contract. It's December.
But see, here's her problem. She only made $18,000 last year. Okay. She's got one contract worth more than she made the entire year last year. She's scared that if she doesn't do a good job on it, she's going to get a bad score. So she's really over, what do they call it?
I don't know.
Undersell and over provide is what you're supposed to do. Under promise and over deliver. She's way over delivering. I've asked her several times if she wants to bid on another one. She said, almost. Give me another month or two. Let me get this one down and complete it and be happy, and then I'll bid on another one. So she's just taking it extra cautious, extra careful, because she's scared, dude. She's overthinking it.
Okay.
You're a veteran, dude. They teach you to think, and they teach you to operate on the fly. That's where you're at. Don't overthink this. It's way simpler than it seems. And I can show you people like her all day long that won their first bid. Look at Pyramid Technologies. No, I got one even better. What is it, G&H Dental? They won their first bid, and it's over $100 million. And I wrote the proposal for them.
How much did you charge for that?
I think on that particular one, what did we charge on that one? It was $4,800, I believe. $4,800 they paid me to write their first proposal. Wonder if it's showing up. I bet you it's showing up in FPDS already. Let me see. They were just awarded it, so it might not be in here yet. Oh, it's in there. It's in there. It's. That's their base option. So that's quarterly, $4 million a quarter. So,
Jesus.
and that's the guesstimate. Now that'll be 4, 8, 16. I guesstimated roughly $20 million a year, and it's a 5-year contract.
So that $4,500 ain't nothing for them.
No. Well, here's the funny part. They paid me to write their first proposal. That was back in September. They just awarded it. That's why it's just showing. Yeah, let me pull the letter up because I actually have the letter of award too, which is awesome. There it is. Oh, no, that's when it hadn't been awarded yet. There it is. Department of Veterans Affairs. Congratulations. The government hereby accepts your offer. So these guys came to me and said, we want to pay you to submit this bid. We don't know how to do it. We need your help. They paid me. We submitted it. It took them 5 months to award this. During that 5-month time, what is his name? Brian. During that 5-month time, Brian submitted several other bids and didn't win any of them. So he was getting a little frustrated. But that contract was finally awarded. It's going to be roughly $20 million a year for 5 years. But it's what they call an IDIQ. They're saying they're guesstimating the orders will be between 50 and 100 a month. I guarantee you, when they get their first order, it's going to be over 100. It's probably going to be closer to 500 because they always underguesstimate on IDIQs. And if they do underguesstimate and it does turn out to be 500 orders, then that contract just went from being $20 million a year to $200 million a year.
A lot. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. One more thing, John. What is this hustling aspect? What is that? What's a day in the life of the hustler in this particular role?
I'm going to need you to do 2 things. All right. There's 2 things I can't do for you. I'm going to teach you what's called, you and I are going to write your elevator pitch, what you say when you call a purchasing officer or when you call a prime. Okay. And it's going to be short, sweet, and to the point. It's going to be 15 to 20 seconds. I'm going to give you names and numbers of purchasing officers and primes to call. I'm going to teach you how to search and find the names and phone numbers and emails of purchasing agents and primes to get in front of. And I'll teach you what to say and how to say it, and we're going to write your cap statement so you've got something to email them. But I can't pick the phone up and call them for you. If you're not willing to hustle, if you're not willing to invest an hour a day or a couple hours a week and pick that phone up and call these guys and get in front of them, you could still be successful. It's going to take a lot longer.
No, that's not the issue. I wanted to know the actual, the grindstone. Like, what is it going to look like in terms of reaching out? So you're saying there's already like an identified list of people I can call and basically pitch my product and services.
Yep, and I'm going to teach you. We're going to give you a list, number 1, and then I'm going to teach you how to search and find that information on your own. You know, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man a fish, you'll feed him for life. Of course, he'll spend the rest of his life in a boat drunk, but at least he's fed, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're you're willing to pick up the phone and make the calls, you promise me you'll invest at least an hour a week, if not more. An hour a day isn't a lot to pick up the phone and make some calls, get in front of these guys, line up some business. The other part of the hustle, you got to submit bids. I can write proposals for you. If you need me to write them, I'll do that for a fee. Each one's different. Some of them aren't expensive. Some of them are really expensive. If you want me to write a proposal for a nuclear power plant, you're talking a big...
I got a question.
Yes.
So these proposals, do you ever do them, when if you get a bid, if you get a contract awarded, or everything's cash up front?
If you want me to write a proposal for you, physically write it for you, it's cash up front. If you want me to help you write a proposal, I don't charge for that. I do proposal. That's why I do the training every day from 4 to 5 is to help my clients write proposals. I'd rather teach you how to do it and help you for free than you pay me to write it for you, because you're not learning when you do that.
Absolutely. That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to make my costs go down. So,
well, look at it this way. All right. If you go to YouTube and you search instructions to offer, there's only 119 videos on YouTube under instructions to offer. You know why that is?
Because the guy's doing the contracts aren't telling anybody because they're not allowed to.
That, it's conflict of interest, but anybody who does instructions to offeror, those are proposal writers. There's thousands of proposal writers that will charge you a fee to write your proposal for you, but none of them have videos on YouTube on how to do it on your own because they don't want to give up their trade secrets. They don't want to teach you. They want you to pay them for each proposal. I don't do that. Out of those 119 videos, almost all of them are mine, because I'm the only guy who's willing to put this stuff out there for free. I'll give it to you. If you can't afford me, you should still do it. Go do it. But if you can't afford me, I can help you do it quicker, much faster, much easier, and do it properly and get good scores so you maintain and continue to get bigger, longer-term contracts and eventually get your 8A and your GSA, and in 10 years, sell the business and retire. All right?
Okay.
I'm going to get you over to Angela. She's my assistant. We work hand in hand. If there's ever a day I can't do the training, which is never, I always do the training even when I'm sick. When I broke my fingers last year, even when I went on vacation, I still did the training every day. But you're going to be working with her as well. She's going to fill in every now and then. So you're going to have access to both of us. You're going to have my cell number. Okay, if you need me, I'm available. You're also going to get a case manager who's going to process your SAM. You're going to get a website manager who's going to build your website that we include for free. You're going to get a dsbs manager who's going to get you set up for simplified acquisitions. You're going to literally have 6 people working for you over here. All right?
Okay. Let's talk about it.
All right. You are logged into the training, so I can't transfer you. But what I will do is I will have Angela call you right back. She's just going to gather your information, send you the forms. All you got to do is take your mouse, sign the forms. You're good to go.
Okay.
All right. You can thank me after you win your first contract.
Yeah. I will.
Now, there's 2 ways to pay. You can pay by check or you can pay by credit card. If you pay by credit card, you still have to cut a check and put it on the worksheets so that we can verify that account. Because in order for you to have an active cage code, your cage code has to be associated with a checking account. This is not my rules. This is the government's rules. The reason why they do this is so when they pay you, sometimes they pay you wire transfer. They wire money into your cage code. Your cage code is attached to your checking. They wire the money directly into your checking account through your cage code. Okay? In order to set up your SAM, you're going to have to cut a check either way. So if you don't have a business checking, you need to get one eventually. You can use a personal checking for now, but you're going to need one eventually to set up your cage code. If you pay the fee by check, they bill the check electronically. It's an ACH, and they verify the account at the same time. It takes about a week or 2 off the process. If you pay the fee by credit card, you're still gonna have to cut a check and put it on the worksheets. They still have to verify that account through the bank, which could take an additional week or 2. So I don't care either way. I'm giving you options based on facts. If you pay the fee by check, it knocks the time frame out, a couple of weeks off the time frame, and then they don't have to verify it later. If you pay it by credit card, they're still going to have to verify it. So it's up to you. Doesn't matter to me. All right?
Okay.
Best phone number for her to reach you is the one that I have.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's not it. That's not even the right day. I'm on the wrong day. Did I write it down? Thought I wrote it down. All right, go ahead and give it to me real quick. What's the best phone number for you?
1 second.
Actually, I got it on my caller ID right here.
Yeah.
352 or 970 number?
970.
970-234-4491. Travis Roundtree, that's right.
Yep, that's me.
All right. All right, if you don't have any other questions, Angela will call you in a few minutes and gather your information to send you the forms.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Like I said, you can thank me after you win your first contract.
Okay.
Welcome aboard.
All right. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.